Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Double Play podcast. I'm Ryan Donahue, joined today by my rad co-host, Jack Smith. I don't think we've used rad yet, but Jack,
No,
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I like Rad, first of all. But yeah, doing pretty well. Went to Universal Studios yesterday, watched some baseball, including the Giants AAA team playing at the major league level because of COVID and injuries. Not been super fun, but got to go to the Dodgers game on Friday, as I mentioned in our Ronald Acuna video. But they were playing the Tigers. Not a whole ton of competition, but it was fun. Watch around Dodger Stadium. I'd been there once before, but that was for a Dodgers Giants game, so I kind of more invested in what was happening on the field. This time, really walked around the stadium, gave myself a personal tour. I would give Dodger Stadium a 9 out of 10 rating. The only thing being it's not like right on the water, which is, what I like about other stadiums. Dodger Dog was very disappointed. Gave it a 5.5 out of 10. I posted this on our Twitter, and I know someone was like upset because I said you about the Dodgers, and I'm like, I'm a Giants fan. I don't know what you want from me. And then the on-field product, probably a 1 out of 10.
Wow, just a 1, but that's unfortunate. But I also was at the same night, I was at the Braves Rangers. Unfortunately, like I mentioned in the Acuna video, Acuna was not playing. He played Thursday and Saturday. I went to Friday. So got there early. I saw batting practice, and I texted you. During his batting practice, he has the most effortless power I've ever seen. He was just, excuse me, swings that went over the right field fence, and he was hitting balls into the third deck at Globe Life. It was insane. So still had a lot of fun. Great game. But
yeah, at least Corey Seager hit a home run right at you.
Corey Seager hit a home run. My friend was like, it was probably 7th or 8th inning. He go, now would be a great time to hit a Corey Seager 420-foot bomb right to us, because we were sitting in the first row of the second deck and in left field bleachers. And the very next pitch, not even kidding, Corey Seager hits a bomb that is coming directly towards us and just comes into the first deck, but probably missed us by about 20 to 30 feet. But it was still insane that we got up. I was reaching my hand out. I thought it was coming to us, but
you just need a longer glove. I think that's the problem.
I guess so.
You need one of those dad gloves that's this long.
Yeah, the big ones. I think I would have caught it.
Yeah. Another thing you missed out on, beating me in fantasy this week. I know we talked about that in our last podcast episode. You did give a valiant effort. I will say that if you want to break down how the week went.
I gave it a good go. Basically, you had all your pitchers go earlier in the week, and I had barely any. So you were up big basically from the start. And going into the last day, I saw you had no pitchers. You hit the max, and I managed it strategically. I went to 11. So I had 11, you get 12, I had 11. So I just start picking up a bunch of guys. I'm like, I'm going to win or I'm going to die trying. And I ended up putting up over 100 points on Sunday. And I needed 11 points out of Zach Eflin, Eflin on Sunday Night Baseball. And he
with Reese Hoskins too.
And he goes for -10. So it was not a good start. I ended up losing by 20 when I had a chance, but I brought it within. I was down 100 or 90 going into the Sunday, and brought it within 10 at one point. So,
yeah, I don't like to talk about luck, but you also got 1 in a season performances from Marcus Stroman, Josiah Gray. You got a lot of good performances turned in. For those of you unfamiliar with it too, on ESPN Fantasy, you're only allowed 12 starters in a week. But if you go into Sunday only using 11, you can use as many as you want on Sunday and you won't hit your max. So I'll just say I played by the rules. I followed the rules. Only used 12 pitchers all week compared to Ryan's 17, and still won by, still think I won by 20 points. So still undefeated. What are you, 1-2?
1-2 now.
1-2. Ooh. I think it's just karma for going above the rule. That's 2 weeks in a row too.
It's early. It's early. I had Acuna. So
yeah, that's true.
He was hurt, so he's coming back now.
Yeah, I'm excited about my team. Got to see Trout coming back. Picked up Kyle Wright last week too. He turned another good start against you this week. The only problem is even if I wanted to do that, I don't really feel like there are players on my team that I can drop right now in order to pick up 5 pitchers for a Sunday matchup anyway. So I'm happy I was able to do that and still win the week. Hopefully continue this undefeated train. Unfortunately, though, my undefeated train of not having a punishment for series locks has come to an end. And for you, it's going to be your second punishment as well. We both went under 500 this week. I do have, like I mentioned, I'll file a little bit of a grievance with that because I picked the Giants over the Nationals. And right before the series, the entire Giants squad gets COVID or gets injured, and they're starting their AAA lineup pretty much with players like literally that got DFA'd, they picked up off the street and started the next day. And they ended up losing the series. They gave up more hits in that series than I think they have since like 2008 against the Padres. It was not fun. So we both have a punishment if you want to explain what that's going to be.
Yeah, so we're going to do like some sort of joint punishment, I guess, but we're both doing the same thing. On our TikTok, go follow it down below. We are going to be performing some TikTok dances for you guys. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to come. I'm going to come hot. I'm putting all my effort into this TikTok dance. You are going to love it. So go follow our TikTok because you won't want to miss that. You won't want to miss my TikTok dance. But if you did, that'd be okay with me because the less people that see my TikTok dance, the better.
Yeah, maybe don't go follow our TikTok. That's all I'll say. Unless you want to see embarrassing TikTok dances from two people who probably can't dance all that well. Nope, but yeah, it's going to be punishments are meant for embarrassment. I'm pretty sure this is kind of as embarrassing as you can get. Like we mentioned for the last one.
That and rapping, what I had to do last time.
That was, yeah. If you guys want to have an effect on our punishments as well, like please let us know for next time because it's fun when we get to decide, but I feel like it'd be more fun if you guys let us know what we have to do instead of deciding what we choose to do. So definitely let us know down in the comments. Go watch those TikToks, which will be up. I don't know. Should we try and get them up tomorrow on Tuesday?
Yeah, they should be up by tomorrow.
Yeah, they'll be up by tomorrow, or I guess by the time you guys are watching this today, if you're listening on Wednesday too, they're probably already out. So go to the TikTok, check those out. I'm sure they'll be embarrassing, but yeah, not gonna be fun. Not a good week series locks wise,
unfortunately. But today it's April, or sorry, not April. April is over, so we're in May. So we're gonna be getting into our monthly awards for the month of April, the first month of the season, and yeah, we're gonna go through Player of the Month, Rookie of the Month, Pitcher of the Month, Moment of the Month, and the other one was Surprise of the Month. So we're gonna go through those, and then at the end we're gonna continue our top 5 series, and we'll talk about that more later. But stick around for that. But Jack, you want to get into our Player of the Month to start us off right away?
Yeah, first of all, crazy is already May. We're more than a third of the way through 2022, and I swear I feel like it just started.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, this is something hopefully we can continue every month. But yeah, started off with Player of the Month. We both had the same National League Player of the Month in Nolan Arenado. He had 225 WRC plus last month, 5 home runs, a 1.8 WAR, which I believe is second in baseball to Manny Machado, or it might be first. I'm not completely sure. Tied for 7th in outs above average, 225 WRC plus, leads the NL in OPS at 1.133. He's just had a fantastic season so far. I don't think there was really another choice in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, he's put up the offensive production. We've seen flashes from him, and the offensive production, it's obviously there. You read off all the numbers, but the main thing for me is the tied for 7th in outs above average, because like when Nolan Arenado puts up these kind of offensive numbers, because we know he's going to be one of the best defenders in the MLB year in, year out. So when he puts up those offensive numbers, he's going to be on the Player of the Month. And if he keeps up similar numbers, he'll be in the MVP discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't want to do like MVP and Cy Young for each month. So we're just doing Player of the Month, Pitcher of the Month, Rookie of the Month. We explained those. I will say Baseball Savant is not super high on Nolan Arenado so far this year. He doesn't have a whole lot of solid red dots on his Baseball Savant page. StatCast numbers are a little down on him. So we kind of base these awards off of actual results, which I think should be the case, but it maybe taints my judgment of him going into next month because I would expect maybe this production to go down a little bit. But either way, his production in the month of April was absolutely undeniable. He's, I think, by far Player of the Month in the NL.
Yeah, and going into AL now, we got different ones. We disagreed on this one a little bit. For me, I had Jose Ramirez. He is at 230 WRC plus, 7 home runs, 28 RBIs in 21 games, which is ridiculous. And 485 weighted on base average. So when he's getting on base, he's putting in extra base hits. He's driving in runs, like I said, but he's been great so far this season. And he's my AL Player of the Month.
So I was very close to taking Jose Ramirez, but I ended up going with Mike Trout. I know he's had less at bats, and the RBIs number is the one where Jose Ramirez was blowing everyone out of the water. But it's also like I think RBIs is one of those older stats that I don't put as much weight into because it's a lot based on situation. And Trout missing those at bats, hitting higher in the lineup. I just think he's missing out on some of those RBI opportunities, but he's still having a tremendous season so far. He leads the AL and OPS in his games played, and he's still I think he's between 10 and 20 at bats less than Jose Ramirez so far this year. So he's not that far off. Leads Ramirez by 50 points in regular weighted on base average and by 100 points in expected weighted on base average. We've seen him with multiple home run games. He's playing great defense. He's running faster than really we've ever seen him run. And I absolutely think Mike Trout, even though he's had some less at bats, is my AL player of the month.
I was very close on picking Trout as well. They got pretty similar numbers across the board in terms of WRC plus, and WAR I would think was very similar, but they've both had great months, and yeah, can't fault you for that pick. They've both been great this month, and I gave the edge to Jose Ramirez, but I could totally see how Mike Trout is the AL player of the month as well.
I mean, 28 RBIs in a month too is just ridiculous. That's pretty much an RBI for each day of the month.
Oh yeah.
And in a Guardians lineup that, yes, I've said that we're sleeping on, but isn't the best lineup in baseball.
No.
So he's obviously the key cog in that machine. His numbers are really nothing to scoff at either, but Trout is just at an unreal level so far.
Absolutely. And hopefully we see a full season of this from Trout, because I would love to see another MVP season out of him.
I mean, that's good. This is kind of what I expected him to do. I still think there's no way he can keep up with he's at I forget what his OPS is at right now, but it's just an ungodly number. So I assume there'll be a little bit of regression back towards the mean, but he had a fantastic month, though he missed some games and has less at bats than Jose Ramirez. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, now we're going to get into Rookie of the Month. And for my pick in the end, I'll start it off. Another guy who is having a fantastic month is Seiya Suzuki. In his first month in the MLB, he's putting up a 164 WRC plus, 405 on base percentage, which is pretty crazy, getting on base 40% of the time. He's got 4 home runs. And I mean, I feel like he's just kind of in the NL, he's dominating, and we kind of saw him come out of the gate strong. And I love to see from Seiya Suzuki on my fantasy team. Almost pulled me to the win this week, but like we talked about. But yeah, Seiya Suzuki is my NL Rookie of the Month. Yeah,
I don't think there's any other choice. He was in consideration for me for NL Player of the Month in general, and he was the main guy that we referenced in last week's episode. That was last week, right, where we talked about our 10 most surprising or impressive players so far. He was kind of that number one guy for us. There aren't a whole ton of MVP or Player of the Month contributors in the NL, and he was up there for me, and he was definitely the only rookie that came close. I think he's the only possible choice in the National League for Rookie of the Month, and well-deserved. I'm super impressed by what Seiya has done this season.
Yeah, for AL Player of the Month, Rookie of the Month rather, we both have the same player as well. This one's Joe Ryan, and in the AL, we saw there's a lot of hype going in this. We got Julio Rodriguez, we've got Bobby Witt, Spencer Torkelson, and RAL Rookie of the Month ends up being Joe Ryan, but it's kind of a surprise. But 4 games started, 23 innings pitched, 1.17 ERA with a 30.1 K percentage. So he's putting up a good month. He's going 5+6 innings every time, putting up those numbers for the Twins. We're in a rotation where we said the Twins need pitching to be good this year, and Twins, they're not 9-1 in their last 10. The Twins, I think they lead the AL Central now with the White Sox struggling, and Joe Ryan's a big reason why.
Yeah, he was despite all the talent that we have in the American League rookie wise, he was a very popular AL Rookie of the Year pick. And he's had a great start to the season so far. He was their opening day starter, which what was it? His 3rd appearance, maybe. He was very low number in appearances and was the opening day starter for the Twins. He's been great. He leads all AL rookies in innings pitched by 4 and still having more success than all of them. Leads AL rookie pitchers, and I think maybe all rookie pitchers as well, with a 1.17 ERA. That 30 K percentage is great. He doesn't get hit very hard. Super impressed by what Joe Ryan has done so far. One thing I didn't know either was that he was a former Ray. So the Rays had traded him for Nelson Cruz, which I didn't know that coming into only until a couple of weeks ago did I find that out. Which means they traded our American League Rookie of the Month for half a season of Nelson Cruz. You kind of rarely see that kind of an L from the Rays.
Yeah, can't agree with that more. But some more pitchers that we talked about. Now we're going to get into our pitcher of the month. We talked about Joe Ryan. He was actually in consideration for me for the pitcher of the month, but spoiler, he doesn't win it for me. But Jack, you want to get started with the NL?
Yeah. So I'm glad we have differing opinions on this one. I gave it to Carlos Rodon. Bias aside, too, 4 games started, 23 innings pitched, 1.17 ERA. He's only allowed 3 earned runs all season, and he has 38 strikeouts on the season, which he has one less start than Burns and I forget who the other name is at the top of the NL, but he's right up there with all the guys who have 4 starts, the most Ks in the National League. And I've got some counterpoints to who you picked, so I'll let you go and give your pick first.
So actually, when I was going in to pick mine, I was choosing between I chose Pablo Lopez, and I'll get into his stats and why I chose him in a second. But when I was going on, I was like, Pablo Lopez. I deleted it. I put Carlos Rodon. I was like, nah, I deleted it again and put Lopez. But Lopez has been insane. He's 4 games started, 23.1 innings pitched, a .39 ERA, which is ridiculous, with a .9 WAR. And I mean, people were high on Pablo Lopez coming to it. I'll be honest, I wasn't really a believer in that. I was like, all right, yeah, he'll be solid, but I was not expecting this in the month of April. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. He's been absolutely fantastic this month.
Yeah, I think that he's given up 1 earned run all season. I think that was in his first start against the Giants. He was kind of carving them up, but they ended up, I think they scored 1 off of him, and that's the only run he's given up this year. .9 WAR. He has been great. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think you can pick anyone other than Rodon or him right now. And he's had a fantastic season, only giving up 1 run in 23 innings. That's great. But compared to Lopez, Rodon's given up 11 hits, which I did not write down how many Lopez has had, but he has less hits. He's got a better whip. Lopez with 23 Ks and 23 innings pitched. Rodon with 38 Ks and 23 innings pitched. Both haven't allowed a homer. So like I said, both are having fantastic seasons, but I think they've both had very successful years where like 3 earned runs compared to 1. I went with the more dominant pitcher, 38 Ks for Rodon, overpowering stuff. He just hasn't been as hittable as Lopez and has struck out more guys. So that's kind of where I made the distinction between the two.
That's fair. I almost chose Rodon. I figured you kind of would. So
you still have time to switch.
I'm not going to, but anyways, you're actually going to see Rodon on Tuesday, right?
I am going to see Rodon on Tuesday versus the Dodgers. We'll see what the kind of lineup looks like. It's probably still going to be half of the River Cats against the Dodgers, but I think we're going to be getting Lamont Wade Jr.'s debut for this season against the Dodgers on Tuesday. So that'll be cool. Unfortunately, Brandon Belt's on the COVID list. Not going to get to see him. I have the worst luck ever going to Giants games where he's either like getting the day off or he's hurt or I guess now has COVID. So I got to see him, I think, when I went last year, but this not a good start to the Giants games this year where I'm missing out on my favorite player again.
I'm hoping Rodon proves me right and that Pablo Lopez is better and the Dodgers go off and shell him on Tuesday.
We'll see. I don't know. I was looking up at the scoreboard on when I was at the Dodgers game, and there's some guys that are hitting the ball well, but I think as a whole, the Dodgers lineup has been a little disappointing this year. And I'm gonna knock on all the wood that's in my room right now. But
it's been the Dodgers pitching staff. I think they have the lowest ERA in baseball. But anyways, we got distracted a little bit.
Out of the
NL, we're getting to our AL pitcher of the month now. Mine is a former Giant, Kevin Gausman, who has been surprising this year. I was kind of iffy about him because I was just iffy about a guy who has been mediocre his whole career, has a breakout year last year. So I wasn't sure about Kevin Gausman, but he's pitched well. 4 games started. He's got 11.31 Ks per 9, which is pretty good. And no walks, which is the big thing. This was a big thing. And he's got a .54 fielding and event pitching. His ERA is a little bit higher, but the FIP is what's big for me because he's just getting weak contact, kind of getting unlucky with balls falling. But a 1.4 WAR as well, which is American League pitching leader, and it might lead all of. No, maybe not. But I don't know. But he's leading all American League pitchers. So Kevin Gausman for my fantasy team is getting my AL pitcher of the month.
Yeah, I really thought about it. He again, another guy we referenced on the top 10 most impressive / most surprising players. He's been great this year. The fact he hasn't walked anyone is absurd to me because of his pitches move out of the zone so often that I'm just really surprised that no one's taken it and walked. So he's been great, really tremendous control. And I really shocked myself with my pick because I wasn't sure who I was going to go with. I was pretty confident it was going to be Rodon or Lopez in the NL. Wasn't really sure what my pick was going to be in the AL. And when I looked through all the stats, I ended up going Justin Verlander, which really shocked me. I was not expecting to come in and pick Justin Verlander, but 4 games started. He's got a 1.73 ERA through 26 innings pitched, 28 Ks to only 4 walks. So yeah, Kevin Gausman's only walked or hasn't walked a single player, but Verlander's only walked 4. And the big thing for me was Gausman has a whip at 0.98 despite walking absolutely no one this season. He's given up 31 hits and Verlander's given up 14. Verlander leads the AL in whip at 0.69 compared to Gausman's 0.98. And just that number of like, it's a 0.98 whip that's pretty much just hits per innings pitched. So he's almost given up a hit per inning. Also, K numbers and innings pitch numbers are going to be a little bit more inflated compared to Verlander and some other guys because since he's at the top of that rotation, he has 4 starts compared to Verlander's, or he has 5 starts compared to Verlander's 4.
Yeah, I mean, I also saw when I was looking through stats, Verlander was up there as well. But yeah, I ended up going with Gausman, and you mentioned all those stats, but I just feel like the no walks and the FIP stood out for me for Gausman. And he's been surprising to me in another category now we're going to get into is our surprise of the month so far. Jack, you want to get us started?
So yeah, we'll start in the NL, and I like your pick a lot, but I ended up going with Connor Joe from the Rockies, and I think this is more of a personal pick because 2 years ago, the Giants starting lineup on opening day, which I think is maybe the worst lineup I've ever seen to start an opening day, and that was in the 60-game season. Connor Joe was starting in left field. Really, no one had ever heard of him. He was kind of that original Farhan Zaidi project, but he was just not that good to start. And I think with the pressure of being a new GM, Connor Joe ended up leaving the Giants. And so far the season for the Rockies, who if I were to pick a different pick, because this doesn't have to be a player, I would pick the Rockies as a team in the NL. Connor Joe has been fantastic. And I think he kind of showed that maybe Zaidi was right about him in the first place, but 877 OPS. He has 11 walks to 18 Ks, 4 homers, 5 doubles. And he's broke out like crazy. The Rockies are up there with some of the best records in the National League. So Connor Joe and the Rockies, I would say, definitely surprised me, especially kind of where they came from 2 years ago in that 60-game season, seeing him start out in left field and being like, are we serious right now? We're going up against the Dodgers and we're starting Connor Joe.
Yeah, Connor Joe, Dodgers legend as well. He was in the Dodgers minor league system for a while. But Connor Joe, did you see that video probably a week ago now? Connor Joe hits a leadoff home run and the announcers go, Connor Joe, greatest Rocky ever.
Yep.
So that was funny, but I ended up not going Connor Joe. I do like him, what numbers he's had so far this season. I ended up going Kyle Wright of the Atlanta Braves. 4 games started, 24 innings pitched, a 1.13 ERA with a 1.0 WAR. He just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was very surprising to me. He had some upside as a prospect a few years ago, and has just been like okay in his stints in the majors. But right now he's putting up great numbers, like I mentioned, and the Braves will need him going forward this season to continue putting up numbers he's doing to be successful.
Yeah, I think you would have guessed when you saw what Kyle Wright was doing this season that he was a rookie, because like really kind of came like that far out of nowhere. And he's been fantastic. You're right. I mean, averaging 6 innings a start. He's pitched great in every single game he's gone out on the bump, a 1.13 ERA. He's been fantastic. We talked about him last week, another graduate of that list. But yeah, I ended up going with Connor Joe, but Kyle Wright, I really like as a pick. In the AL, I went with a guy that's more of a big name. And to me, that's Alek Manoah. And that's another kind of personal pick because I really did not expect Manoah to have a great year this year. I didn't fully buy into him coming up and having that success last year. I wasn't projecting him to really build on that and continue it. I thought he could be okay, but I definitely wasn't expecting him to be as good as he has been. I think I would have put him even above Gausman as runner up for my pitcher of the month. 4 games started, 25 innings pitched, 1.44 ERA, a 0.88 whip, 25 strikeouts. And the Jays have won every single game he started against the Yankees, the A's, but then the Astros and the Red Sox. despite scoring 3 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs, and 1 run in his 4 starts. And they've still won every game he started. He's 4-0. He's been amazing this year. And that surprised me. I'm not afraid to admit I was wrong.
See, that's one where, like I mentioned, where I was wrong before, but Alek Manoah, I was right on. I knew he'd be good. I maybe not this good. Maybe this good is a surprise to me, but I knew Manoah would be good going into this season. And for my pick in the AL, a team that I did not know would be this good, I went with a team. I went with the Angels, actually. So they're 15-8. They lead the AL West, and that's behind Trout being the same Trout. Ohtani, he's been okay, but he's put up numbers when he needs to. Syndergaard's been good at the top of the rotation. Lorenzen had a good start yesterday where he went 8 1/3, picked him up as well.
Yeah,
And
again, how many times is Michael Lorenzen going to go 8 1/3?
So, I mean, they're getting good production out of their pitching, and Taylor Ward has also been fantastic. He could have been a surprise as well. And that's kind of propelled the Angels to leading the AL West. And I knew they'd be better than they were in the past this year, but leading the AL West is probably something I didn't pick. And I mean, it is something I didn't pick in our record predictions. I think I had the Angels in second or third in the division behind the Astros, but leading the AL West, I wouldn't be surprised if the Angels win the division.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me has been Taylor Ward. If we could go back and add a name to our list last week, it would probably be him. But you're right, the Angels, a lot of people, the popular pick was the Mariners to, if anyone's going to unseat the Astros, it would be the Mariners. But so far, it's been the Angels, and they've had some up and down series. I think they lost a series to the Orioles earlier this year, but they've been great so far, 15-8. It's kind of not being talked about either, because I don't think that like you'd see them up there with those teams that are 15-8. Because what are the Dodgers, like, also 15-8, or are they 14 and I don't know the exact number, but they're
7.
Yeah, they're right up there with some of the best teams in the league, and you wouldn't really know it because of what the media has been saying. But Trout's been amazing. He's my player of the month, and the Angels really, really surprising so far. Definitely, if I could go back, I would bump up their win total for sure. Because I think you're right. I also had him third in the division, but I had him right around 500, I think. Let me pull it up right now, actually. I had the Angels, because I think you had the Mariners in second. I had the Angels in second above the Mariners at 85 and 77. From what I've seen so far, I'd probably boost them up. And I only had them 6 games behind the Astros in my predictions. Could I see them winning the AL or the AL West? Probably.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I had the Angels at 82 and 80, if I remember correctly. But yeah, definitely 85 to 88 wins I could see for the Angels. But
what's your moment of the month?
Moment of the month. We'll get into that now. I ended up going Miggy, his 3,000th hit. I was watching that one live. I was watching all 4 of his at-bats I mentioned in a previous episode leading up to it. He finally got it with a single the other way. And everyone comes onto the field, gives him hugs. He sees his family. I just love moments in baseball like that. And there's a couple of different moments I could have gone for this one, but I ended up going with one that was on the field with Miggy getting his 3,000th hit. I love to see that.
Yeah, I also would have picked that one. I'll give you another one, though. Tyler and Taylor Rogers, the 2 twins, 2 relief pitchers who were very different, exchanging lineup cards in their first game. They got to play against each other in the big leagues. We also saw this with the 2 Contreras brothers the other day. So we've had a lot of good moments like that. But that one, after Taylor was traded to the Padres, going to San Francisco, that being able to exchange lineup cards like that seemed really cool. And then Tyler went off, I think flew out the next day to go on the paternity list. So pretty good week for him. But that moment was really cool. We mentioned the Brett Phillips moment a couple weeks ago. That one was great as well. But Miggy 3,000, that's like that one. It's such an exclusive club that we don't see those moments very often. And so to give it as a moment of the month seems pretty obvious.
Another moment I'll give, just a shout out, Kershaw with his 2,967th K or something like that, where he passed to become the Dodgers all-time strikeouts leader, which was cool. It wasn't really a big moment about it other than the crowd going crazy. He just went on business as usual, kept pitching. Good start too. 6 innings, one earned run. They unfortunately lost that game, but that was another great moment.
Yeah, I thought about putting Kershaw's comeback start, but he didn't. Since Dave Roberts kind of robbed him of the opportunity.
It was a perfect game. That would definitely probably be my moment.
Yeah. Okay. Since we I think we have a little bit of time, let's talk about this Mets no hitter, Because I'm
Yeah.
curious as to what your opinion is.
So I sent you this tweet. I forget who it was by, but they said like essentially said like if one pitcher throws a no hitter, that's awesome. But combined no hitter, it's like okay, that's less about the team throwing the no hitter and more about the team that got no hit saying they suck. And I sent that to you, and you said you completely disagree.
I think I said L take. I think all I said was L take.
L take. I agree with that. I mean, it is cool to see the no hitter. I was at the Rangers game, and when I got the notification, I watched the ninth inning. It was definitely something I tuned into on my phone. But I think I wouldn't go as far to say I don't care about a combined no hitter. But I think I don't really think about it that much as a sole no hitter, because that's just when a pitcher can go the whole game without throwing no hits after seeing a guy 4 times. That's just insane for me. Or 4 times per player versus you're seeing a new pitcher every at bat. I mean, that's harder to adjust to, and I think it's just less of an accomplishment than a single pitcher throwing a no hitter.
Yes, is less of an accomplishment, but the guy saying that it doesn't really matter for the team that throws it. It only matters for the team that gets no hit. I disagree, but also that could be my bias as a pitcher, specifically a relief pitcher, because if that were the case, relief pitchers would never get to be involved in no hitters or perfect games. I still think it's cool. I still think it's an accomplishment to be able to go out and shut down a team, not give up any hits in the entire game. That's a big accomplishment. Maybe it shouldn't be celebrated quite as much as a guy that goes out there and throws all 9 innings himself and gives up no hits, or better yet, throws a perfect game. But I don't think you can just like disregard it because a relief pitcher or 2 was used, or 4 in this case.
Yeah, I mean, it can go either way on that. I just think I stand where I stand on that. I just think it's more impressive to me. I care about it more when it's a single pitcher.
That's true. I don't think anyone would deny that either, but I think to forget about and not celebrate a no-hitter thrown by a group of pitchers would be wrong. Let's get into top 5. And this one I've been excited for, and I am excited for top 5 baseball movies. And you can start with your list. I have a couple of honorable mentions. I don't know if you do as well, but then we can go 5 to 1, give our top 5 baseball movies.
I will give an honorable mention real quick. And do you want to do this like I give 5 and then you give 5, or should I give all 5?
No, I'd say give your honorable mentions. I'll give mine, and then you give your number 5. I'll get my number 5, and then we'll go pinball 1-to-1.
So I only have one honorable mention. It was on this top 5, and then I remembered one I forgot about. It was The Perfect Game, which is I was like looking like best baseball movies, kind of just to jog my memory. It was one I forgot about a long time ago. It was at my number 5, but it's a good movie, and that's my honorable mention.
So yeah, I've got 2 honorable mentions. A League of Their Own, which I think
that's a good one to know.
Novelty baseball movie wise, this one it's really good. I think I've only seen it once or twice, but I know I really enjoyed it. And then Rookie of the Year, like a one that's a callback to I think like a very childhood movie. Though that and The Sandlot are like the 2 kids baseball movies that I think everyone's seen and everyone really likes. With the boy becoming the Rookie of the Year for the Chicago Cubs. That's just a kind of a more childish movie, but still an iconic one, and definitely has some nostalgia to me. But it didn't quite crack the list as I've grown up and I've liked 5 more movies over it. I think I would also put it at 7 if I were doing a top 7. League of Their Own at 6.
Okay, and I'll get right into number 5 then. Number 5, I had Rookie of the Year. There you go. It was a great movie growing up to see the kid. I haven't seen it in years, but didn't he like pop his arm out of his socket and all of a sudden he could throw 95?
Yeah, I think he was at school, and then the pop-up goes over his head, and he's not that good at baseball in general, and he trips on a ball, pops his arm out of his socket, and then he turns into Aroldis Chapman from the right side. So
yeah, and then he ends up getting it popped back in and then sucking again, but
he still gets that last out.
He does get it, and so I love that movie. It's like you said, a classic, one of my favorites. So number 5 on my list.
Number 5, I'm going to go Bull Durham. It's absolutely hilarious, but the only problem is I've only seen it once, and that definitely needs to change. It will probably rise with time and rewatching as I'll get into later, because I wrote this from 1 to 5, and I realized like now that I've written this note, I'm going to save it for my next movie. But yeah, I really like Bull Durham. It's going to rise up this list more. It's really funny, a little bit more R-rated as compared to the other baseball movies, but still it's hilarious, has good baseball as well, which is, I think, the good combo. You want some comedy, but also some good baseball.
Number 4, I went 42. I think it's just great movie, great story. I mean, Jackie Robinson, who doesn't love that movie? And I think it's also a really powerful movie. It's more of a serious side on the baseball, telling a story. And I think it's a great movie. Obviously, Jackie Robinson, very important guy, and number 4 on my list.
Put that on a quote graphic, like Jackie Robinson, very important guy. Summed it up pretty well, I would say. Number 4, I'm going to go Field of Dreams. And the note that I was saving, Kevin Costner is the undeniable GOAT of baseball movies. I figured if I said that about Bull Durham, it would kind of give away Field of Dreams on my list. But Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams and Bull Durham. What are you saying?
4 for Field of Dreams?
Too low?
Yeah.
I'll get there. Is an iconic movie. The MLB Field of Dreams game absolutely boosted its stock for me. That was amazing. And I just realized I put another note that I'm gonna save until another movie on my list. But just know it made more sense as I was writing 1 to 5. I didn't quite think about it that I was gonna be reading them off 5 to 1. But yeah, Field of Dreams, it's great. The only reason I think that I have it lower on this list is I think a little bit nostalgia, but also it spends less time on baseball than the other movies do. That's the only thing I'll say. Still love it though. It's an amazing movie.
All right. Well, number 3, I have The Sandlot. Obviously, iconic movie. Everyone knows The Sandlot. If you haven't seen The Sandlot, what are you doing? But Sandlot, just the whole story. It's very entertaining. Even as a college student, I still appreciate The Sandlot. Everything about that movie is just a great movie. Seeing Benny the Jet suit up with the PF Flyers and run away from the beast. It's just iconic.
They do make you run faster and jump higher.
They do.
It's just proven. The note that I was leaving off, because I also have The Sandlot at number 3, was if I got to visit the Field of Dreams or The Sandlot, Field of Dreams hands down every time. I'm a little bit lower on The Sandlot than most, I would say, because I think it's kind of like once you grow older a little bit, it's not as comparable to some of the movies on the list, but pure nostalgia wise, pure childhood wise, pure fame wise, I think it has to be at 3. The 4th of July scene, I would argue, is the best scene in any baseball movie ever. A fantastic movie. You're right. It's just like the novelty of seeing that as a kid, and having that camaraderie and the friends playing at the baseball field. It's an undeniable movie. I've got it here at 3, but I think there's a clear separation from my 1 and 2 movies.
So number 2, I do think there's a clear number 1 for me. Number 2, I have Field of Dreams. You mentioned that you're
leaving off one of my top 2.
Am I?
Yeah,
we'll see. But Field of Dreams, obviously, amazing movie. The quote, if you build it, they will come, and then obviously the big rant. I saw that when I was at the Rangers game. I went into the baseballism store. I saw that entire quote. I don't even remember the quote now, but you know which one I'm talking about.
Yep.
The big long quote. It's all on a T-shirt, and once I get money, because I have none of that right now, I will be buying that T-shirt. I'll tell you that right now. But iconic movie. I don't know how you had it at number 4. It's number 2 for me.
I love it. It's just my top 2 really separated, and I'm curious as to which one you left off, because I'm pretty sure I know which one it is. Number 2, I have Moneyball. And now there are funny parts, but this is a more serious movie. Maybe I'm a little.
He gets on base.
He does get on base. It's funny when it needs to be funny. It's serious when it needs to be serious. I think it's a very, really cool look into what Billy Beane was trying to do. A really good look into the Moneyball era. It's one of the newer movies too. I think the cinematography is really good. Likable characters. There's great actors. Brad Pitt absolutely kills it. Really gets you to buy into what the A's were doing. And I don't know. I saw it on Netflix. I'd seen it for the first time, I think like a year ago, and I just really liked it. And I've seen it a couple of times since then. Maybe I'm higher on Moneyball than most, but I love the movie. I put it at number 2.
My number 1 is also Moneyball. So
All
I'm
right, good.
interested to see what your number 1 is, how it's not on my top 5 or probably honorable mentions as well. But yeah, Jonah Hill is one of my favorite actors, or probably my favorite actor just in movies in general, but it's just a great movie. I love how it's about baseball and about the front office side, which is something very interesting to me. And I just love that movie. I need to see it more.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, my number 1 was a pretty easy choice for me. I have Major League, and this is a movie I'm like so
I don't like that
partial
movie
to.
that much.
You don't? Oh my god, it's in my opinion, the perfect combo of like actual baseball and comedy. Love the characters, love the story. I like it every time I watch it. It still makes me laugh. And it also came after my own heart by having like important characters with the announcers, which I thought it's really funny. They kind of add a soundtrack to the games. It's really funny. I mean, the wild thing, like, how do you not have Major League even on your list at all, as opposed to number 1? It was a pretty easy choice for me. I'm really partial to that movie. I just love it.
I'm just not a big fan of the movie. I've seen it a couple of times. It's like, it's entertaining. I'll give it that, but not top 5 for me.
I think one thing we can agree on, though, is of all the sports, maybe outside of boxing, just because there's been so many boxing movies, baseball has by far the best roster of movies.
Absolutely. Boxing, it's close. I mean, you got all the Rockies, the Creed.
I mean, when you've got 5 Rockies and the 2 Creed movies, what's the one with the high school teacher? Kevin James plays like a high school teacher. I guess maybe we'll call it like fighting movies, because I don't know if that one was officially boxing.
Yes.
Here Comes the Boom.
Here Comes the Boom. Yeah, I don't remember
there's a lot of fighting movies, but of the major sports, baseball by far has the best movies. There's old ones, there's new ones, there's funny ones, there's serious ones. I think that's something we can all agree on. But I want to hear your guys' top 5 in the comments, and it better have Major League on it. Nope. Even as an honorable mention, I'll accept that because it's better than what this man put, which is not leaving it on his list at all.
Sorry, just not a big fan.
I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, those are our top 5. Like you said, let us know down below. Go check in, tune into our TikTok for our punishment. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Or don't. But make sure you're following us on all the socials: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Oh God, knocked over my mic. I was getting too excited there. But yeah, follow us everywhere. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought. Let us know any of your players of or awards this month, your top 5 baseball movies. And if you are on Apple or Spotify podcasts, give us a 5-star review and interact with our socials, like we said, to let us know what you guys like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of, because we will respond, we will listen. And I think that's all we got for today. We've been the Double Play, and thank you for listening.
He gets on base.
He gets on base.